Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a bit of a different video. I normally just write what I'm trying to say on the screen instead of talking it, but because this video is going to be a long one and it's very complex kinda, we're gonna just talk about it. I do have a script. This bit is not scripted currently, so this is just the intro. So yeah, so basically we're gonna talk about K-12, which is Melanie Martinez's upcoming film and album, which will be out September 6th. And today we're going to theorize what the movie could possibly be about. I'm going to go through every track on the album and read you guys what I have theorized for it. This is going to be a long one. I think it's like almost 3,000 words or something. So get into your assigned seating and let's get into it. After the events of Mad Hatter, Crybaby is sent away to a magical and a mystical school called K-12. She hops on a bright pink school bus with her fellow classmates and notices that there's no driver, hence the lyric, "No one's watching us." But the bus starts moving anyway, almost like magic. Crybaby sits, saying nothing, relaxed, while the rest of her class is on edge. She sings about her journey to the school, through the clouds, in the deepest waters, and through fiery hell, on a roller coaster ride that is this school bus. The students head off to their first class of the day. Crybaby immediately catches the eye of a boy named Brandon, who invites her to sit with him. He explains that K-12 is a school for the gifted, people with magical ability, though only some have found the powers and are able to control them. As a school bell rings, Brandon invites Crybaby to sit with him at recess. Crybaby heads to her next class, where she is introduced to Kelly, a tall blonde girl who likes Brandon. She threatens Crybaby, telling her to stay away from him, or else. But before Crybaby could respond, a girl named Angelita barges in and tells Kelly to fuck off. Later in class, Crybaby is handed a horrifying note from Kelly, hinting at a fight at recess. Angelita takes Crybaby to her hideout, a cubby house made of torn blankets and old book bags, sewn together. Angelita asks Crybaby who gave her the note, to which she replied, Kelly. The school bell rings and Crybaby looks up with fear. It's time for recess. The pair walk to the playground together to meet up with Brandon. Crybaby introduces the two and the three all hit it off. They talk shit about a few teachers and laugh. Meanwhile, just over the other side, Kelly is talking with her friends. One of them point out Brandon sitting next to Crybaby. Kelly turns around with anger and yells at Brandon. She starts pushing people out of the way to get to Crybaby. Brandon jumps up and runs off while Angelita yells, "Watch out." While Crybaby turns around, she's hit in the head by Kelly. Kelly continues to beat up Crybaby while Kelly's friends hold back Angelita. I'm under the impression that Kelly doesn't want to fight with Crybaby, considering the lyric, "Should I give him away or feel this bad?" Meaning, should she just let it go or do something she doesn't want to do? To which I believe she's taking her possibly abusive parents' past opinions of "don't you choke," meaning don't take the fall, and "go for the throat," meaning fighting solves the problem. Kelly hits Crybaby one last time, but her eyes go black and Kelly starts levitating, as does Crybaby. Crybaby wraps her long braids around Kelly's neck, choking her. Mel talks about this scene here. A teacher comes out to stop the fight, and Crybaby puts Kelly down. The principal gets a call on his large bright red telephone. He gets told about the fight and the two girls are being sent to his office. When they arrive, he seems to not care at all. He takes Kelly's side and says Crybaby went too far, to which Crybaby stands up for herself. The principal, not having Crybaby's argument, tells Crybaby she'll be working as a kitchen hand as punishment for backchatting. He sends her outside. She heads back to class, but on the way back, she notices how fucked the school really is. She sees kids getting bullied, kids getting screamed at to do their work, and kids crying in the halls. Hence the lyric, "You don't know the pain you are causing. Your actions hurt, so do your words." This song is also a metaphor for how Trump is ruining the country and how society isn't where it should be. Crybaby heads back to class. She looks at her timetables and notices she has science. She walks through the doors and finds herself eerily stared at by the whole classroom and the teacher. She walks to her assigned seating, and the class continues. She sees the teacher playing with what looks like a puppet. She notices the class is writing almost in sync with each other. Crybaby begins to doze off. She wakes up inside the puppet box next to the teacher. She looks up and sees a terrifying hand holding the strings that are connected to her hands and feet. She tries to get the attention of the kids, but they can't hear her. She tries to tell them that she's not a puppet and that she's one of them, hence the lyrics, "Why is it so hard to see? If I cut myself, I would bleed. And I'm just like you, you're like me, imperfect and human are we." She's either trying to get the kids' attention or she's trying to tell the teachers to stop controlling her because she's not a puppet to control. She's a human being just like she. She hears a faint noise in the distance. Crybaby awakes from a daydream to her friends asking if she's there. They begin walking to class, but Angelita says that she has a painful stomach ache. She collapses right before their eyes. They look down and see blood on her skirt. They take her to the nurse's office where Crybaby sees sick children and broken bones. She looks back on being at home and not at school anymore. She begs the nurses to give her permission to leave because she's sick of wishing she was ditching. She gets put in the nurse's office where the sick kids stay waiting for their parents to pick them up. She talks to the school nurse who seems scary to her. She was a tall woman wearing a purple dress and curly red hair, which seems innocent, but she notices that all the nurses looked the exact same. They were giving the kids shots that seemingly made them better. They'd sit up with a huge grin on their face as the nurses tell the kids it's time to go to class. The nurses head over to Crybaby, and in a panic, Crybaby refuses and says she's fine. The nurses crowd around her and insists, but Crybaby runs out of the sick bay. Before school the next day, Angelita and Crybaby meets up in their cubby house. Crybaby tells Angelita about the weird things going on at the school, how she thinks the staff might be controlling the students. Angelita looks concerned and mentions she has seen some unusual stuff herself. The school bell rings and Crybaby is off to drama class. The class is rehearsing a play from the 60s. She rocks up and walks past the boys who holler at her. Crybaby brushes it off as if it's nothing. The girls start putting on their vintage Victorian-style costumes and getting into place in front of the ironing boards. The boys walk out onto the stage as the girls are ironing the men's clothes. Crybaby speaks out about how women shouldn't have been treated this way, to which the boys replied with, "Keep ironing and this is where women belong." Hence the lyric, "I don't want to be an actress living by your script." She doesn't want to live up to the boys' expectations. Drama club is her telling the boys that she's not taking their crap, hence the lyric, "I never signed up for your drama club." I believe she's also telling the audience about a past experience with one of the boys. She calls them fake, hence the lyric, "You can keep your costume and you can keep your mask." The lyric, "They try to feed you lines that you have to memorize," makes me believe Crybaby thinks this boy in particular is a good guy, but is made bad by the people he hangs around with. As the music fades out, the class stares at Crybaby. The whole class starts cheering as the boys run off the stage. The school bell rings and it's off to period 2, PE. Crybaby arrives at her class with Brandon. It's PE. The class needs to climb a rope for the class exercise. Crybaby's gym clothes were misplaced, so she is forced to do it in her school uniform. The class is lined up. Brandon is lined up behind Crybaby. It's Crybaby's turn to climb the rope. She starts climbing and Brandon follows. He can see right up her skirt and tries to grope her. Strawberry shortcake is a reference for rape and sexual assault. Crybaby is blaming herself for what happens, hence the lyric, "It's my fault because I put icing on top," which is a metaphor for girls dressing up. "And that's my bad, no one taught them not to grab." She's either blaming herself for what happens or talking about how everyone else is excusing Brandon's behavior. The recess bell rings and it's time for Crybaby to serve her punishment for the fight with Kelly. She goes to the cafeteria and talks to the lunch lady, who says she'll be joining other students who have to serve their punishments as well. Crybaby meets 3 other girls who each have their own stations. Angelita offers to help out. The 5 girls introduce each other. A tall girl tells the other girls that this isn't her first rodeo, and that the kids here will make the job hell. The girls look scared as the other kids begin to line up. While serving lunch, Crybaby hears a round of friends talking shit about their friends, and rumors about girls at different lunch tables. Lunchbox Friends is Crybaby narrating other characters' lunch tables. One of the girls is saying they don't want friends like that, hence the lyric, "I don't want no lunchbox friends, no, I want someone who understands." I think Crybaby is having a conversation with the girls about becoming real friends, not lunchbox friends, only people who want to hang out at school and don't actually have any real connection. A girl at the tables starts a fight and throws food at her friend. Blue Boy yells "food fight" and everyone starts throwing food. The girls join in and have a blast together until someone gets hit in the face with an orange. The juice squirts all over their body and some gets in their mouth. They fall to the ground unconscious and they sit up almost eerily, almost the same as the kids in the nurse's office. Smiling, they get up and feed the other students oranges and make them fall asleep as well, so they too can be controlled by the school and do the same as the students before them. Crybaby and her friends realizes that the oranges are making the kids hypnotized. They try to escape. They get split up and the teacher catches Crybaby. She is taken to an office, where she tries to fight back using her powers, but they don't work. The teacher takes Crybaby's eyeballs out, and she gets put under control. An eyeless Crybaby finds Angelita and tries to attack her and feed her oranges. Angelita uses her own power of flames to keep Crybaby from getting close. She tries to talk Crybaby out of the trance. She reminds her of the good times that they've had. Crybaby stops, and it seems that the oranges' effect have worn off. Angelita puts out her hands that hold Crybaby's eyes. She picks up her eyes and puts them back into place. The pair begin to walk off to get help. The two are ambushed by students and are force-fed oranges. They slowly drift away to sleep. Crybaby wakes up tied to her desk. She realizes she's in trouble and she tries to scream for help. Her screams only alert the teacher, who tells her to shut up by smacking a ruler on the desk. A nurse walks over to give her an injection, and she's under control once again. The lyrics are a little confusing. Baby, can you meet me tonight in detention? I can feel your blood pressure rise, fuck this tension. This makes me believe she's talking about after she's under control. And detention is actually her being under control, hence the lyrics, let me crawl up into your mind. Did I mention pretending everything's alright is detention? If we had more lyrics to go off, this might make sense, but I believe Crybaby's possibly trying to talk to someone telepathically, since she'd be unable to speak due to the mind control. The nurses walk over to the door and load Crybaby onto a hospital bed, and takes her out of the classroom. They take her to the part of the school that she has never seen before. Angelita is rolled next to Crybaby by the nurses while they leave the room. At this time, the effects of the serum has worn off, and the pair talk about what's happening and how fucked it is. The nurses come back out, and they hear two voices saying, bring them in. Angelita and Crybaby get rolled into a room with guards manning all doors. The room is filled with nurses that all look the same. The nurses push their beds over to a big machine with helmets attached to it. They lean their bed next to the machine and lock the helmets to their head with buckles. The nurses move out of the way, and Angelita and Crybaby see Kelly and Brandon staring at them. Crybaby and Angelita look at each other with shock. What the fuck, they both say. They ask why they aren't under control or tied up. Kelly explains that the principal is her dad. He found an orange tree on the land and found out that the orange juice within the oranges have controlling ability, as he noticed the animals acting weirdly after eating the fruit. So he extracted it and tried it on a select few of students. The results were successful. He began feeding it to the school through lunch. At first, he just wanted a school that was perfect. Everyone was working. There was no fights. Just some peace and quiet, but he noticed that the serum wears off, and that the kids will start to rebel again. Then Crybaby and Angelita came along. The two have the most powerful and polished powers he has ever seen come through the school, and they both caused the most trouble. The principal thought Crybaby and Angelita would be an excellent subject to test out his most permanent form of mind control yet, replacing the whole brain with an orange. Angelita yells at Brandon, "How could you?" Crybaby is lost, wondering what she means. Angelita and Brandon has been seeing each other without Crybaby's knowledge. Teacher's Pet is a betrayal song. Crybaby's talking to Brandon as he was friends with the two up until gym class. She sings, "You liar, you were her desire, now she wants to light you on fire." This makes me believe that the she is Angelita, as she has the power to light him on fire. Crybaby also sings about how forgiving Angelita is, saying she will still give you a call and a lighter when you want to get high and mess around till you get numb. The machine starts, but Crybaby and Angelita, filled with anger, breaks the machine with their mind. Angelita sets fire to everyone in the room, turning them all to ash. The pair break out of the room to save the kids. They obliterate every teacher who gets in their way. They unbuckle all the students from the desk and wait for the serum to wear off. They move the whole school into the auditorium where they can all begin to fall out of the trance together. The students all regain back their consciousness. Crybaby and Angelita explains what happened, and that the school is no longer run by the teachers. A student asks what's happening to the 50th school dance that's on tonight, to which Crybaby responds, "What's stopping us from having it?" The school begins setting up the party. Kelly's friends walk up to Crybaby and apologizes. They say Kelly bullied them into being her friend, and that they never wanted to hurt her, to which Crybaby accepts their apology and moves on. It's time for the school dance, and Crybaby has yet to find a date. High School Sweethearts is about Crybaby finding a suitable date for the dance. A high school sweetheart is a childhood crush or love that you were in high school. Crybaby wants to spend the night with someone special. Hence the lyric, "These are the requirements, if you think you can be my one and only true love." Crybaby explores her options until she finds the right person. The night goes well and Crybaby shares her first kiss. The school goes to sleep. morning, the students feel lost. With no class to go to, they ask Crybaby what's next. With no one in charge, what are they to do? Crybaby suggests getting away from the school, going back to home. The students jump at the idea. Recess is Crybaby saying goodbye to the school, a final break from all the things that happen here. She's telling her fellow students how they shouldn't let anyone else fuck them over, that if they need a break, they should take it. She's talking about how fucked the schooling system is, and how the school will try and use the students just like they did at K-12. Crybaby returns home along with all the other students, the magic pink school bus dropping one off at a time. The school bus pulls up to a cute pastel pink house in New York. It's Angelita's house. Angelita offers Crybaby to come home with her, saying she doesn't have a proper family to go back to. Crybaby considers it and agrees. They both step off the bus and heading towards the house as the pink school bus flies away. The end.